What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. As with every new patch, we're going to take an early look at what has become overpowered or super strong over in Korea since the new patch. There is actually a new best mid, jungler, AD carry, and top laner over there, each with crazy win rates. By the way, we just hit 500k subs on the channel, so thank you for that. It's awesome, honestly. To give something back, there's a giveaway for $500 of RP in the description, which you should all go and check out. Also down there is a list of the champions that are in this video, but we're going to start with Kassadin. I've mentioned him over the past few weeks a ton, but now this is like Korea's new overpowered pick majorly, and I'm not exaggerating this one either. He's the most played mid laner, and he still has an insane win rate at the moment. It's kind of matchup stuff. So if we look at that first, there are only a handful that he actually has a negative win rate, which is insane. Like Ahri, Jace, and Talon really are the main three, but everybody else he crushes. Just look at this. The big one is LeBlanc though. She got a lot more popular with this kind of Gunblade build that has popped up everywhere, and Kassadin takes a major dump on her. It is definitely a meta thing, like mages are everywhere, so Kassadin is just going to get a bit better. Like he is a mage killer and his win rate is going to boost up, but also it's kind of build. Rod of Ages into Lichbane, Zhonya's Void Staff, Abyssal is still quite popular as well actually. Like Rod is going to give you that scaling, but you're tanky enough to dive in early still and actually do some damage. The win rate is a bit of a surprise because he's actually highest early game, like before 30 minutes ish, then he falls off a little bit, but he's still going to be good and stuff. Like this is the opposite though of how a normal Kassadin works. It's also what I mean though by he counters mages in the lane phase. He gets free farm and free kills, which he then uses to snowball. This is like 100% though the best mid lane in Korea right now, and can easily justify a ban, I think, when it comes over here properly. Like he's got the mobility, the damage, the roaming, and the one-shot potential as well. He's a super deadly assassin. Mastery wise, it's death by touch instead of Thunderlords. Like you poke with your Q over and over and then you dive in, but it's actually the 18-0-12 that we want to look at. They take fearless, by the way, in the 18-0-12 masteries. You gain bonus armor and magic resist when you're damaged by an enemy champion for 2 seconds. This lets them jump in, combo, survive with the damage reduction, and jump back out again, or use Zhonya's or wait for cooldowns, whatever they do. It's actually really smart. So that is going to be the major one this patch, I think, over in Korea. But Xin Zhao has moved up to the best jungler in Korea, and this has been a long time coming. Xin has finally got the top spot though. There's no real surprise that Lee Sin got a massive spike up in play like the last couple of patches, and Xin is an amazing counter to this guy. He's really good against carry junglers in general. He outscales them. He can 1v1 them really easily, except like Elise, who has that burst potential. If they can burst you down before you can heal and stuff, then you're in a bit of trouble. He's by far the most well-rounded late game jungler right now though. That spreads to mid game, which is why he's so much better than before. Bloodrazor plus Blade the Ruined King plus Trinity Force is so deadly. It's 100% carry build, and then you get tanky afterwards, so you just don't really die. Attack speed overload with this means more heals and crits, so it's actually more worth than other champions. You have loads of damage on it anyway. You have some burst with the sheen and percentage damage. Now if he's actually going to lose a game, you really have to kind of beat him before 25 minutes. Otherwise he outscales and he just carries the game anyway. Win rate is consistently super high past that 25-minute mark. This is kind of the meta slowing down, the fervor buffs as well, which is really good with, and the blade buffs. Like everything rolled together is just really good. And now we have these new tanks as well coming in the new patch, and he's just going to get even better. Like you have the double percentage damage and loads of attack speed. Fervor, as we said, is what is the go-to thing there. Stacks it very quickly. You buff your abilities and auto attacks, and your guaranteed crits as well. Plus it's 18-0-12, which gets you more healing from it and more flashes as well. So Draven, and finally then I guess the last new best in role spike up anyway is Draven for AD carry, and there goes the meme. The Koreans just don't play Draven, I guess. To be fair, he's not that popular, but he's even super good at lower ranks right now, which is not what I expected. Like Draven being really good in bronze and silver is not that common. Anyway, matchups, he loses to like Kalista, Twitch normally, but the rest he's actually good. Even Lucian, like he crushes Zaya, Tristana, Vayne, Ezreal though, and he even does well against Caitlyn. Right now, if a game ends before 25 minutes and Draven is in it, then almost 60% of the time he's the one winning it. That's pretty insane. It's kind of the early power he has and the snowball. So quickly, like a lot of AD players and champions have an issue with their gold lead and actually growing it, right? Draven has that with his passive automatically though. Build, we're going to go for a Bloodthirster Rush into Infinity Edge, or Rapid Fire Cannon, or Phantom Dancer, and then Last Whisper and stuff like that. It's like the proper 1000 crit build is back again. Win rate, as we said, early game is nuts. It slowly dips again and back up again a bit, a full build, but he's really designed to solo carry games early to mid game. That is why you'd pick him. It comes back to the passive, right? More than anything. Like that is what lets him use his lead more than any other AD carry, to be honest. Like plus Bloodthirster first. You get big heals, your fervor feeds his Q damage even more than normal, so he has even more burst than a Draven normally would. A lot of people thought Warlords would have been really good on him, and it probably is actually, but fervor is way more damage, way more pressure early, and that is really what you want. As you can see on screen, they go 18-12, even though I would have thought 18-0-12 with this setup would be really good as well if you're going to rush a Bloodthirster. Now, I'm not kidding with this next one, okay? Veigar support has had a massive spike up this patch at higher elo at least, and this is like tank Veigar with a bit of damage maybe. He's actually really good against defensive supports, weirdly. The stun means you can kill them. The burst means that like it's a kind of counter to a heal. Really, you can't heal somebody if they're already dead. Nami, Lulu, Rakan, he absolutely crushes this patch, and it kind of makes sense. Like Lulu cannot ultimate if she's stunned, right? We talked about this before a month ago, but I guess it's kind of spreading over. You get damage naturally, you build Locket Redemption to protect your team, plus a really long AoE stun. Normally you'd go like the Spooky Ghost or the Blue Eye Watcher support thingy into Redemption and Locket, maybe a bit of damage later into the game so you can actually at least burst people. The win rate is better mid game onwards. That's not that great early at closing a game at least, which is not much of a surprise. He is a scaling champion. Remember, you only have to hit your abilities to get some AP every time. Honestly, I don't think this is that bad anyway. So far above 55% win rate, which is nuts in Korea. I reckon it's mostly the counter matchups and destroying Lulu, to be honest. Thunderlords is really popular over there, as you can imagine, but Stoneborn Pact has a really good win rate, so I would actually try that first. Like, you get a Rylai's or that stun, and it's going to proc the healing. By the way, also Moby Boots to run around super fast, roam, get that stun, cage people, blow flashes. I don't know if you've ever seen a Veigar run around with that speed, but it doesn't look right. It's so weird. Now, I haven't mentioned this guy in ages, but he's the best top laner by a mile this patch in Korea, and he's even got a decent play rate as well. It's all because of the matchups though. Pantheon crushes Fiora, Fizz, Kennen, even Darius and Nautilus as well. So basically, he is the meta counter. That is why he's so good. A lot of these are item reliant, where Pantheon is not at all really. He fights them, he beats them, he gets ahead, then he roams with his ultimate. That's basically how every single game goes. Build-wise, Ghostblade gives you the early power, then Cleaver afterwards every single game, then Guardian Angel most of the time, more of Mortius, Sterix, Edge of Night, Deadman's, whatever you kind of need. If we look at his win rate, he's one of the best champions at closing out games early, which is no real surprise, obviously, it's Pantheon, but he's still got a solid win rate for the rest of the game. I bet you this is because of his roaming and how much he shuts down his lane opponent. The thing is, like, you can have a pretty strong lane phase, but if you don't crush and deny and kill your opponent, then they're still going to get very strong as well, and they're still going to have a chance to carry the game. Against Pantheon, that doesn't really work because you just bend them over and you keep them really far away and starved of gold. It must also be because of his ultimate, and he can like actually use that lead he gets in his lane and move it into others to help his team as well. He's not even that bad like mid to late game. He still does a solid amount of damage. He can easily one-shot burst and AD carry if he can get onto them, which is kind of the hard part. But mainly, I guess it's kind of his ultimate that is actually bad in teamfights unless you use it properly. Thunderlords and Deathfire Touch are both decent on Pantheon right now, but Thunderlords is kind of better. Like, the burst is what you want for the lane phase to fight these other carry laners and get a decent lead. You kind of need a lead to use it. So Thalia has also majorly spiked up this patch, abusing her roaming and strong laning more than anything else. And this one is kind of weird for matchups. Ahri crushes Thalia normally, like so does Kassadin, so does Fizz. So it's not a pick where counters are leading her to spike up like others here. Now that's kind of a good and bad thing. I guess like it's bad that you get crushed a bit, but it's good because it normally means she's actually a good champion overall, like consistently. Really though, she's lane dominant. She can push her opponent in, so she has lane control. She has roaming priority because of that. She has burst and poke damage. There's not a lot more you could ask for in a mid-focus meta, really. The build is also perfect for a mid-game spike, like a massive spike, like Morellonomica on Leandries, Rylai's. They're super cheap, they're efficient as well, and they actually pack a serious amount of damage together. There's no real surprise that she's highest early win rate-wise, but in a like 40+ minute game, she drops to a really low win rate so far, and that's a bit weird. That's probably why her matchup seems so rough in some cases. She's definitely strong in the lane phase, but from spectating a few games, it really seems like it's way more of a roam game. You shove in and you disappear and have that constant threat of like ulting down to bot lane or counter ganking the enemy jungler, and they even roam down like level 3 and 4 and just flip the enemy AD into their team. Masteries is weird as well. There's like nothing normal about this pick, but Storm Raiders has a much higher win rate than Thunderlords this patch. Thunderlords is still more popular, it's just not quite as good. It's still good though. You can play either. Thunderlords is probably more reliable, I bet, but something extra to try would be that Storm Raiders. Now Cogmore quickly is one that I reckon is about to pop off everywhere, especially with the tank changes coming next patch. So this is like a get ready, I guess, and abuse it while you can. Matchups, Zaya unfortunately does not stand a chance here. Like his range screws her kiting, and Ezreal, Ashe, Vayne, Jinx, Jhin even, like all of these auto champions just cannot stand up to cog damage. He's actually super strong even early, which is weird. I know it's not what he's supposed to be good at, but his W gives really good and easy trades. Plus you literally just have to survive, right? Like get to items, you right click with W on and you win a game. It's pretty dumb. Build wise, it's Blade into runes most of the time, then Rage Blade and Wit's End and stuff like that. Like those are the first three most of the time. It's just a crap ton of attack speed and on hit damage that runs alongside your W. Of course though, Korea has turned this late game hyper carry into an early game champion. Like the synergy with supports and W damage and blade makes you a lane beast, and that is what they're kind of abusing right now. He's a bit of an awkward champion to play, I think, but as long as like Sensor, Redemption, Locket, and defensive supports are there to buff him, he's going to be way stronger than he actually is as a champion, basically, if that makes sense. Masteries, Fervor, and Warlords are actually good. Fervor is used more, but Warlords has a better win rate for now. So to recap this very quickly, we probably have new best in roles for everything but supporting careers so far this patch. Kassadin for mid, Xin for jungle, Draven for AD, and Pantheon for top lane. Kassadin is a great counter to LeBlanc and passive mages, which is where his win rate comes from. Xin is spanking Lee Sin and other carry junglers. Draven's early game is just unstoppable right now, which is why he's so good, and Pantheon is winning almost all of the carry matchups top lane. Veigar is also an awesome pocket pick for support to play now as a counter to Lulu mostly. Thalia is rising up as an excellent roamer, and Kog'Maw is just amazing when he gets a lead, a few items, and buffed by supports. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for 500,000 subs. It's honestly insane still, and remember to stick around and sub if you enjoyed it, but for now, let's go to the robots.